Good morning.
Good
This is
morning.
Maureen, the reporter.
Hi, Nicole. How are you? I'm Robert. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, Robert. My name is actually Maureen.
Okay,
and
Maureen, I'm sorry.
Nicole's name, that's fine. I just wanted to let you know. And you let me know when you'd like to go on the record when you're ready.
Yes, I will. I will.
Thank
So
you.
our first case is 487. I have a Michelle Wagner Nebbia. Are you present? It's a little blurry.
Is she muted?
Who's present for this case this morning? 487?
Michelle, hi, good morning.
I just wanted to hear you. Good morning. So we're going to read it into the record and then you're going to tell us what your case is all about, okay?
Okay,
All right, thank you. Okay, Maureen, we're on the record. Good morning. This is the January 12th, 2023 meeting of the Southern Region Board of Review. This hearing is being held via WebEx video conference at the Perry B. Duryea Jr. State Office Building, 250 Veterans Memorial Highway, rooms 2 and 3, Hauppauge, New York, 11788. The time is now 9:12, excuse me, and this hearing is officially open. Members of the board are Erica Schaub, Andrew Hames, Palin Nee, and myself, Robert Peterson, Chairman. From the Department of State, we have Mr. Courtney Nation. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. First hearing is in the matter of petition number 2022-0487. Is it 2022? 2022.
Yes.
Okay. The petitioner is Michelle Wagner Nebbia, and the aggrieved parties are John and Denise Dolan. This petition pertains to a variance for a detached dwelling of wood frame construction, 2 stories in height, 6,740 square feet in total gross floor area, located at 17 Howard Drive, Town of Huntington, County of Suffolk, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, which states space created in basements may have ceiling that projects to within 6 feet 8 inches of the finished floor, and beams, girders, and ducts in such space or other obstructions may project to within 6 feet 4 inches of the finished floor. Existing finished ceiling heights in spaces and basements shall not be reduced. The petitioner is seeking a variance to allow ceiling heights in the basement that are less than allowed. And 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 4, which states headroom height on existing stairs being altered shall not be reduced below the existing stairway finished headroom. Existing stairs not otherwise being altered shall be permitted to maintain the current finished headroom. The petitioner is seeking a variance to allow minimally reduced headroom at the stairway landing. Okay, Michelle, you're up.
okay. So this house was built in 1962, and the house has not been altered since then. The first floor living room was built with a 9-inch step down from the rest of the first floor. And so the reason why Courtney said this couldn't be an administrative variance is that the reduced ceiling height is in the main path of travel. When people are exiting or going down into the basement, they go from the stair, and for a very small area, they walk under the 6'2" ceiling height, and then you turn and you have access to the rest of the basement. This house is built on a hill. It has a walkout basement. It's the way it was built. The owners have been there. I don't know exactly when they bought it, but I think it was in the 70s. So they've been there a very, very long time. That the basement was always finished. And the reason why we are here to legalize the finished basement is that in 2010, we did major additions and alterations to the house. And the finished basement did not have a CO. So the town of Huntington is making us legalize it, even though it was finished a very long time ago. because of the major alterations that were done to the house in 2010, the house at that time was fitted out with carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors throughout the house. And that has all been inspected, and the final inspection was passed on all the work that was done in 2010. And also this house is connected to Central Station. There really is the only way to remedy this would be to dig out the floor under the living room in the basement, which would be an extreme financial hardship, which the owners are not prepared to do because the house was built this way in 1962. It is not a suspended ceiling. The ceiling is a sheetrock that is mounted right to the underside of the floor joists.
Do the owners need to use
And
the
the
space for
ceiling-
habitable space?
It's always been used as habitable. It's like a game room.
No, but is it necessary? If it was finished storage rather than habitable space, is that a punitive to the resident, to the owner?
Well, it's the first thing that you walk into when you come down the stairs. They're not going to want to gut this room. Also, I know that this is not, maybe has anything to do with your decision, but unfortunately, John Dolan died 3 weeks ago, right before Christmas, and his wife Denise. So John was, doing a lot of things around the house and trying to get this house ready. They were thinking about possibly selling the house. So he was diligently working on a few little things that the building inspector wanted done in the basement. And unfortunately, he has passed away. So really don't want to ask Denise to have to gut this room after he just finished installing a mini air-to-air ERV to bring in the required fresh air into the habitable space, the billiard room, which was on the approved plans by the town of Huntington. He spent a lot of time getting the room up to snuff to meet the requirements of habitable space, and now to go back and gut it all, I just don't think that
I
would
wasn't
be
suggesting
something
gutting
that
it.
the owner would be willing to do.
I wasn't suggesting gutting it. I was just talking about, you can have finished storage.
Oh.
Just as far as the use designation,
see.
if that would be a punitive designation rather than habitable space. But
Hmm.
let's move on. Let the board ask some questions and then we'll circle back on that use part. Can you just highlight,
All right.
you said always finished. Is there any record of when it was actually fitted out and finished? Is there any tax records or anything that when the basement was actually finished?
No, the
predates
town of
1970.
Huntington did not have the assessor's office. Well, I think that I'm not really sure, but I think they bought the house in the 70s after they got married, and
So the Dolans.
it was
didn't build
finished
this
at
house.
that time. It was
Say again?
finished at that time. The first owner built out the finished basement because it's a walkout basement. It was always used as a, like a play space, a
Okay.
game room.
So predating when the Dolans took possession of the house. It was finished
Yes.
out, the bathroom was installed, the basement was finished out the way presently shown on the drawings?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And you had some questions?
And it was extended in 2010. It was extended. We, because it's all built on a hill, by default, we ended up with a bigger basement when we put the additions on the back of the house. So the basement was extended underneath the addition in 2010.
That portion's all compliant, you have 8-foot plus ceiling heights and ventilation and all that.
Yeah.
The area of this
Yes.
shallow ceiling height, that was finished prior to 1970. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The boiler room that shows the boiler and hot water heater. I'm seeing a door into that on one side, on the long side, and then what, sliding doors to enter that? Or to expose that?
Yeah, that is what's there.
So those are not fire rated, I take.
The building inspector has been to the house. We do have an open permit that we're trying to close out for the finished basement. Getting this variance is one of the things on the checklist. But changing out any of the doors was not on the punch list by the building inspector. So
No, that probably wouldn't be, but we typically, when we grant these types of variances, we include conditions that may not be in the building code. And typically making the boiler room fire rated is one of those conditions that we often impose.
okay, all right, that would be something that we can do. That is a gas-fired boiler and a gas-fired water heater in there.
Right. Okay.
Where is the
I believe.
walkout part? So is it in this billiard room? Or is it in another portion? of the
No.
basement?
No, it's on the back of the house underneath the addition. It used to be there was a 6-foot sliding door that went out the back of the original basement,
Where
but
the
that is
steps
the
are?
area where we added to. So in the so when you go down the stairs and you go through the billiard room and you go down the hallway past the bathroom, that room used to have a 6-foot sliding door that went out into the yard. But that's where we broke through when we added the addition, and we made that opening larger.
Just to clarify the uses, the plans show the billiard room where the rec room is in the photos. The photos and the plans don't match. So are you
Yes.
changing?
Yes, since the time I did the drawing, they moved the pool table and they put it on the other side of the basement. I apologize for
Well,
the
that's okay. The
for
bottom
the
line,
confusion.
bottom line, Michelle, is you're looking for habitable space in this 6'2" ceiling height. And the homeowners are seeking possibly to sell the house, and looking to close these matters out. So this
Yes.
decision today will ride with the CO of the house and the new property owners. So, it's important to know how the spaces are going to be used so we can understand. That's
To do it.
okay. The flooring is carpet in there, right on the slab?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
The light fixtures are flush with the ceiling?
yes. The carpet and padding, I believe, takes about an inch away from the ceiling height. I had offered that to Courtney to mitigate this, to pull up the carpet and the padding and put some type of a thin flooring right on the concrete. And he said it wouldn't have made a difference. It still would have to go before the board. But I did offer that if that is something that might help to mitigate.
Another.
Yeah, a half inch or an inch.
Yeah.
What's the head height obstruction at the bottom of the stair? It's not really depicted on the section. Would it be the same as the ceiling
On
height?
the cross section, I really don't know. So there's a 6'11" ceiling height from the nose of the treads to the underside, the sheetrock of the stairs that go to the second floor. And then at the very bottom of the stairs, it's the last tread is 11 inches from the 6'2" ceiling. So really, there really isn't a reduced obstruction at the bottom of the stair. We have at least 6'11".
Yeah,
Yeah, we have 6'11" throughout the stair or more.
No, but essentially, when you get off that last step down to the basement,
you're at.
your head height obstruction at the stair would be the same as the ceiling height. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and because the first riser is 11 inches away from the 6'2" ceiling height, there is a little bit of room there. You know, it is a little bit more space when you go off the bottom step.
Can anybody hit
The
their
6'2"
head?
ceiling height, there is no 6'2" ceiling height above the stairs. It's 6'11".
That last step, as you step down to the finished floor of the billiard room, what's the head, what, can you hit your head on that drop beam? of the
Oh,
living room?
no, not at all. No, because the last step is almost a foot away.
So you step down and then your obstruction is essentially the ceiling height.
It's 6'2", right, right.
Okay. I have a suggestion. I'm not going to redesign your whole basement because it already exists, but the stair above on the first floor has a landing. And it turns to the left into the finished storage. Conceivably, if your stair to the basement had that same configuration, you wouldn't have a headroom issue at the stair, only when you walk into the billiard room. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't solve the
Oh,
problem
God.
because the living room is still low above the billiard room, but it does solve the problem at the stair. Does that make sense?
Mm.
You'd have to reconfigure this whole room.
You'd have to reconfigure the finished storage room to the
We'd
bottom.
have to
of the
cut-
stair.
No, I would have to cut a hole in the floor upstairs
Or the stair is above.
and reframe. No, the floor framing of the first floor goes straight across. The stairs that go down towards the double front door are built on top of a floor. That's
So
a
you have some
solid
structural
floor
modifications.
that goes.
Yeah.
We would have to, yeah. And,
Conventionally, is
and so,
there a delay on this?
the stairs on the second floor were completely constructed in 2010 for this other project because there was a ceiling height issue that was, it was actually like 6'8". At a certain point when you went up the stairs. So the stairs that go from the foyer to the second floor were completely ripped out and reconstructed. And we modified everything to fix that problem the way the house was originally built. So we, at tremendous expense, we don't want to touch the stairs that go to the second floor.
No, I wasn't suggesting
And
that.
the-
Typically, you have a stair
No.
underneath the stair above. It conforms with that configuration. You don't have a headroom problem. So if you're saying there's a platform or a lower ceiling there, then it's a problem. It's a structure. I understand.
Yes, the first, yeah, the stairs that go up to the landing in upstairs are built on top of a solid floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I don't.
Where are the carbon monoxide and fire detectors?
They're, according to current code, they're in each bedroom and plus one per floor. And the house is connected to Central Station.
They probably should be a little closer to where you ascend the stair. What is it, 15 feet, Courtney? Is that Amanda's law?
Right.
I mean, it's probably close. Rather than at the base of the stair, it's down the hallway. So then you have the boiler room right there. Probably makes sense to have some right at the foot of the stair.
Because it's not near the boiler room.
Yeah, I mean, it's close. You discussed the fire rated enclosures, stuff like that. Sometimes we ask for rate to rise, heat
Heat detector.
detector in the actual mechanical room. Are these terrible things to ask for? It's not financially punitive to do something like that.
Okay. And if, so I think one of the things on the punch list from the building inspector was to provide a fresh air inlet into the boiler room. And so if we're going to be doing that anyway, we could have better tight fitting doors on the boiler room, which would allow the smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector to be placed right at the bottom of the stairs.
That would be my inclination. However, one of the problems in that room is the size of it. I could see the need to want to keep those doors to be able to open wide in order to maintain that equipment. That's
There's
a
another
tight,
door off
that's
the
a
back.
tight room.
There's another door off the back as well.
There is, but.
So typically in these cases, we ask for a 1 hour rated enclosure, and then the doors would be a 45-minute rated, door as well. So those biparting doors would have to be removed.
It could be swinging doors.
So the hinge door there for access, and then the other door in the back as well. Do you know what the partition is that encloses that little mechanical room? Is it have 5/8 drywall on it or any kind of fire rated material?
I think it's just regular 1/2-inch sheetrock.
Okay.
Good luck getting thinking.
Yeah, and there's a lot of utilities and piping and stuff. That might be a heavy lift.
Yeah,
And then do you have is it a tiled wall on the other side in the bathroom?
There's a picture of the bathroom in the submittal.
doesn't look it.
Doesn't look like it, no. Just base molding. So these are commonly what we look for granting variances. No sleeping, stuff like that. If nobody has any other questions, we'll go talk this out and come back. Is that okay?
Okay. All right.
All right, thank you, Michelle. We're going to deliberate. We'll be right back.
All right. Thank you so much.
We're off record.
Can you hear us, Maureen?
I can hear you.
Okay, we're back. We're going to go back on the record.
We're on record.
Michelle, you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Back on the record with respect to the petition of John and Denise Dolan, petition number 2022-0487. The petitioner seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 4. The board makes the following findings. Number one, subject petition pertains to a basement which appears to have been finished without benefit of the permit and is being legalized. Number two, As per petitioner's drawings, rooms in the basement are to be used for recreation and storage. Drawings also depict a toilet room and a mechanical room in the basement. Number 3, rooms in the basement have ceiling heights at 6 feet 2 inches, 6 foot 11 inches, and 8 feet 8 inches. The ceiling heights of 6 feet 11 and 8 feet 8 satisfy the provisions of section AJ 601.3 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State. Number 4, the minimum ceiling height in the finished basement is 6 feet 2 inches and occurs below a step-down living room in the story above. Number 5, anthropometric data in the current Life Safety Code NFPA 101 indicates that the average height of adult males is less than 6 foot 2 inches. Number 6, the room in which the 6 foot 2 ceiling height exists is used as a recreation room, and a portion of the bottom landing of the only stairway from the floor above falls within this room. Number 7, exception 4 of section AJ 601.3 allows the original unreduced headroom at legally existing stairways to remain, despite alterations to other spaces within the basement. Number 8, the stairway to the basement appears to be existing, and any reduction of the original headroom at the landing due to the installation of ceiling finish above this landing would have been minimal, if at all. Number 9, the basement has 2 emergency means of egress. One of these is an exterior sliding door to grade. This door provides a secondary means of ordinary egress from the basement, which may be used as an alternative to the stairway. Number 10, 2 edges are formed at transitioning ceiling heights in the basement due to a drop living room above. These edges are approximately 6 feet 2 inches above the finished basement floor. One edge is located at above a bottom landing of the basement stairway, and the other is located at an adjacent hallway that connects the billiard room to the rest of the basement space. Number 11, painting the corner edges a contrasting color to the ceiling would alert persons to take action to avoid coming into contact with ceiling projections. Number 12, the petitioner has stated that the house is fully compliant with smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors and is central station monitored. Number 13, the basement includes a boiler room which contains a gas-fired boiler and a hot water heater. The boiler room has a swinging door at one end and a sliding door on the long side for access to the equipment. Number 14, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of variance under Part 1205. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 4, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or necessary hardship and would be physically or legally impractical. And the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for variance from provisions of 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 4, be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. Condition 1, that electrically wired smoke alarms shall be maintained throughout the basement in accordance with Section R314 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State and shall be central station monitored. Number 2, as identified in the findings above, that painting the corner edges a contrasting color to the ceiling. Number 3, that all ceiling mounted lighting within the 6 foot 2 space be recessed, flush. Number 4, that the doors to the boiler room shall be replaced with 3/4 hour fire rated swinging doors. In addition, a rate of rise heat detector shall be installed in the boiler room and connected to the central station. Number 5, that the emergency escape and rescue opening via a door to the exterior shall be maintained at the basement level and shall be accessible to all basement occupants. Number 6, that the room with the 6 foot 2 ceiling height, presently known as the billiard room, shall not be used for sleeping. Number 7, that the basement shall conform to all other applicable requirements of the Uniform Fire Prevention Building Code, including but not limited to the requirements for carbon monoxide detection. I need a motion to approve with these conditions.
Andy, so moved.
Can I get a second?
Erica?
Erica, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plan to specification presented in support of this application. So did you get all those, Michelle? The conditions that we had read?
Yes, Yes, thank you
So
so
it's
much
approved,
for your consideration.
So you're clear, and any questions on the conditions? We're clear, approved as per these 7 conditions.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that is fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.
So up next is 0219. Am I yelling?
Yeah,
I'm
not at
projecting.
all.
I
Good morning.
apologize. I'm projecting here. So Chris Gray,
Good morning. This is
how are you?
Chris Gray, architect, 2401 Capri Place, North Belmont, New York, representing Beth Sturm, and the property is at 27 Sunset Road, Massapequa. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay. So this basically this
Before you get started, Chris, we got to take care of some housekeeping and then
I got you.
I'll get back to you. Okay. Okay, so the second hearing is in the matter of petition number 2022-0219. The petitioner is Chris Gray and the aggrieved party is Beth Sturm. This petition pertains to the alteration of an existing detached dwelling. The subject building is of wood frame construction, 2 stories in height, approximately 2,350 square feet in total gross floor area, and is located at 27 Sunset Road, Massapequa, town of Oyster Bay, County of Nassau, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, which allows space created in basements having ceiling height that projects to within 6 feet 8 inches of the finished floor, and beams, girders, and ducts in such space or other obstructions may project to within 6 feet 4 inches of the finished floor. Existing finished ceiling heights and spaces in basements shall not be reduced. Petitioner requests that ceiling heights and overhead obstructions in the basement be less than allowed. Okay, Chris, tell us what's going on.
Okay, so this it was discovered that this basement space did not have a permit. There was an addition on the first floor that needed to be addressed with the town of Oyster Bay. So with this basement, it consists of a basically one open room, a recreation / storage area, and then there's a utility room as well. This house was built in 1938, so the ceiling height in the basement is very low. It from the floor to the underside of first floor deck, the ceiling height is 6'7", and what in the open area, the finished storage / recreation area that has a hung ceiling, that finished ceiling height is 6 feet 4 inches. And also there's a beam running through this space, and the headroom under this beam is 5'8". And the owner had purchased this property in 2011, and she had finished it around 2015. So that is the history.
So the homeowner finished it in 2015
That's correct. Yes,
without the benefit of a permit.
that is correct.
Okay. So I'm just going to jump into it. My questions are related to the racked beam of drywall. Do you know if the beam is tight to that drywall? Is it?
Yes.
Okay, so the beam is how big?
Well, the beam is it's a solid wood beam, and it's 7 inches deep.
Okay, well, the picture shows it has a step in it.
A step. Let me look at the picture.
Like the soffit, the beam, the soffit that's encased in the beam, vice versa.
Okay. That is interesting. I believe the worst case area, I believe that's the 5 foot. Let me just take a peek here. Okay.
You know where I'm going with this? I'm just trying to see if there's a way that we can get that up a little higher.
Yeah, I think it's really it's really would be a major hardship to change that beam and to lower the floor. So that's a solid. Yeah. So Yes, a 6'7". Yes, that 5'8" is that the lowest portion. If we took the ceiling height from the concrete floor to underside of the deck is at 6'7". We take away 7 inches for the beam, so that would leave 6 feet under the beam at the high part, and then where it steps down, and I had measured 5'8" finished.
That's a big difference. So maybe if it's packed, if the beam is packed down, non-structurally packed down, if that could be removed and get it up to 6 feet, that would be great.
That
Without-
could be investigated as to why that extra drop down is done.
Would you happen to know what it would cost to upset that beam along the finished space? Not the whole basement?
I am not sure, but I would say it'd probably be of a few $1,000s, maybe a couple of thousand at least.
Couple of thousand, I'm saying to upset the beam in the floor cavity.
Yes.
Okay,
Let's see, that step. Yeah, very strange with that little step in there. Very strange. The
yeah, because it's a big difference, Chris, between 5'8" and 6 feet. Without doing any major structural alterations, if anything that was padded down. So you're saying the 5'8" was measured to that lower part of the soffit?
Yes, I believe that was the worst case. Yes.
Okay,
Thinking that's 4 inches?
he said it was 4 inches, because you said undersided deck, you said to the bottom of the floor joist is actually 6'7"?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay,
In the boiler room where it has a gypboard ceiling, that's where I measured that 6'7".
okay. So just looking at the math, the drop ceiling is within 3 inches of the underside of the joist.
That's correct.
So that little plenum is like 3 inches.
Yes.
Okay,
The plans show a new 3-inch standard steel pipe column.
Yes.
I don't see that in the photos.
No. That's proposed. That's because on the first floor, the structure that was put in place, that was part of this application to legalize a 1-story addition and an alteration above. I found that the structure was deficient, so that column and footing need to be added to correct the structure that is from above.
I see, but then, okay, so that work, the structure, the addition up above has not been done then?
No, that was part of this application to the town of Oyster Bay to legalize the basement and a 1-story addition and alterations on the first floor.
Right, but those alterations and additions have not yet been done?
No, that has been completed.
It has been completed, but that column has not been put in.
No, that's what ultimately when a permit is issued from the town, then the owner would go forward to install this new column to correct that deficiency on the first floor.
so there's a maintain aspect, maintain component, and then there's a proposed component.
No, it's all maintained. Well,
Well,
the proposed is the column. That's
Yeah, that was my point, because the photos don't show that column, and Mr. Hames was just trying to clarify.
Yeah, that column and the LVL going across is not in yet. Oh, no, that says existing.
but
What's
yes,
holding it?
the previous individual who did this, yes, they installed this beam, basically where the proposed column is, there's a point load above. And it's too much stress on this flush beam that they installed. So I have noted on the plan to put a column directly under that point load. So yes, that LVL is existing, but it's structurally not sound.
The column is new, and the footing, everything
Correct,
else.
yeah.
Yeah, now the footing So that's got to cut through the floor to
Yes.
put in the footing.
Yeah, there's a cantilevered, that LVL is a cantilevered beam picking up a point load above.
Then I have another concern with the stairs going from the basement to the first floor, make that left-hand turn. And underneath that, we've got a reduced headroom there.
Yes,
And that's also going to be a reduced walking space between that and that new column when it's put in.
that is correct. So there'll be a passage, there'll be some passage, but yes, that is definitely obstruction, this stair.
So Chris, may I suggest something?
Yes,
Just to kind of spitfire and talk about design a little bit. If you have to put this column and footing in, that's an expense that's going to require the floor to be taken up, saw cut the concrete. There's a cost to that, right? To
yes,
do that work. Is there a way that we could solve the headroom problem with the beam? Maybe put a steel beam in, upset it, and pick up that cantilevered beam to remove the column and the footing? Put that cost of the new work into the upset beam.
well, I mean, that's very possible. Also, there's logistics of getting that beam in the house is
Yeah.
would be interesting.
And there is a column there, though. It might just be a short span that, you know, you could put the money from the footing into the beam and get that 5/8 situation out. And, you know, much better than the 5/8. If it goes upset, you're basically at the 6/4 or more. It's
Yeah,
just an idea. I'm looking at the plan. It's, you're putting this column and footing in the middle of the space.
Yes, it's but there would be ample passage, but there, you know, I'm just trying to correct a structural deficiency.
All right, well, we'll take that into account. So this angled stair, do you know what the head height is on the bottom of that angled stair that encroaches in on the finished space?
I would say I'm looking at let's see, look at the pictures.
You walk along the wall?
Okay, you can see the risers of the stairs. There's two.
Where that little dwarf door
About
is?
4'8". I'll say about 4'8". I see
Are
this.
we talking about the same location?
The wall height at its lowest point under the stair. Is
Yeah,
that-
where that little dwarf door is, there's an angled ceiling?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm looking
so
at stairs. I see that there's 7 risers, so that would equate to approximately about 4'8" of
Okay,
wall height.
at its lowest point.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm saying 6 rises. Oh, wait,
there's 7.
there's 7. Okay.
Okay.
One's hiding.
Didn't see, yeah.
So you're asking for a recreation space, because obviously the photos show it being used as habitable space. It's not storage?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, the reason being the town of Oyster Bay allows spaces such as this to be called finished storage. And they have it as they have it as more of a recreational space here.
And that's what you're seeking? I mean, it's a use that, you know, on the plan it showed existing finished storage, but it's being used as habitable space, not non-habitable. So just want to get that on the record.
From our standpoint, it's habitable space.
Yeah, people are going to occupy the space. It's finished.
The other thing we don't have here is an emergency escape and rescue open.
That's correct.
Then you've got it
Which-
storage.
Yeah, would the petitioners be willing to put one in?
Well, in doing past state variances, that's a typical requirement, and that's you know, that it's understood. That's the norm. That's a requirement.
So where would that go, Chris?
I would say either,
Looking at the plot
there
plan,
are-
you don't seem to, go
there are
ahead.
two windows. There are two windows, one on each side of the space. They can certainly be enlarged. There's plenty of room on the outdoors. It can go on either side of where the existing windows are.
I'm not sure it can go on the, and I'm not, if north is up, I don't think it can go on the east side. I think that's a driveway there, isn't it?
Let's see. There's there
So it would have to
Yeah.
go,
so it would be on the south side would probably best, and that would probably be most remote to the stairs.
right.
Yeah, that might be a good spot. You just gotta pay attention to your zoning implications, because it's a 10-foot side yard setback, and you got 13.91, so, you know, when you put the egress window in the well end,
Would that have to be outside, within the setback?
typically, but Chris will follow up on that and double check.
Yes.
Some municipalities allow it to encroach if it's not sticking above the ground, but my knowledge of Oyster Bay is they require it meets the setback. So
Let's see what that would be.
you want to ask about the boiler room and stuff?
Yeah, I guess, another question, the boiler room. Is that, that's a large boiler room. Is that used for storage or?
That's the picture. I might have, do I have a picture of it, the door open? I don't think there is a picture showing there. Yeah, it's a little large. I would think they might put some things in there, hopefully non-combustibles.
Hopefully. Yeah, I assume that's probably not fire-rated walls in there?
Oh, at the time when I measured it, it appeared to be, all enclosed with chipboard. And it had there was a fire rated door there as well. I was able to read the label on the door.
And the chipboard is, type X?
I was unable to tell, but,
It's on the plan.
just I think by measurement, it appeared that it was.
I don't know how you tell that by measurement.
No, that you can measure like the wall thickness.
Okay, and that's a fire-rated door. Is there any, heat detector, smoke detector? What type of fuel is used in the boiler?
Gas
Yes.
for both the boiler and the hot water heater. There is a smoke detector happens to be shown on the, on one of the pictures.
Right outside there.
Did you see that?
Oh, I see,
There's the, on the sheet with the four pictures, the picture on the lower right, you can see it as you, near the stair, you see the ceiling, there's a smoke detector there.
yeah, I see that.
Combination CO2 and smoke, or?
It should be, but as standard procedure with any project that has a permit, it must have, a smoke detector in each bedroom, outside the bedroom area, and a carbon on each floor.
We have light fixtures that are flush with the ceiling, nothing projects below the ceiling, right?
That's correct.
I must say, you're gonna have to put some railing protection and handrails down the stair.
Oh, yeah.
We'll leave that up to the code official. I mean, the plans show existing, but
Right, that ultimately that'll be enforced to be.
yeah, we'll leave that up to the building department. I don't have any other questions. Anybody else?
No.
No.
Okay, we're gonna go talk this out. We'll be back as quick as possible.
Very good.
Hang tight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. The record?
We're on the record.
Thank you. Okay, so with respect to the petition of Beth Sturm, petition number 2022-0219, the petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1. the board makes the following findings. Number one, drawings and photographs of the subject dwelling show a basement that has been altered. In addition to a boiler room, drawings show a large room labeled for storage. Photos show the room used as an office and for recreation. The applicant wishes to use the basement as finished habitable space. Number two, the drawings indicate that the basement has a finished suspended ceiling that is approximately 6 feet 4 inches above the finished floor. This represents a 4-inch departure from the 6 foot 8 inch requirement of the code. Number three, the petitioner has stated that the bottom of the existing floor joists are 6 feet 7 inches above the finished floor. Number four, projections below the basement ceiling enclose a central girder. These projections have soffits that are a minimum of 5 feet 8 inches above the finished floor. This departure is considered significant as a headroom of 5 foot 8 inches is less than the average height of adult males per anthropometric data in current NFPA life safety code. Number five, the petitioner has stated that structural alterations in the form of a new steel column and concrete footing will be installed to address existing structural deficiencies in the basement. Number six, petitioner has stated that upsetting the existing 5 foot 8 inch beam into the floor cavity to reduce the beam projection would cost a few $1,000s. Number seven, painting the slope ceiling projection under the stair would create a contrasting color to the ceiling and alert persons to take action to avoid coming into contact with the ceiling projections. Number eight, in that the subject space is part of a dwelling unit used by individuals who are accustomed to their surroundings. The reduced heights above the floor should not have a substantial negative effect on the health or life safety of those individuals. Number nine, installing an emergency escape and rescue opening, emergency lighting, and fire-rated assembly, enclosing the basement boiler will provide significant life safety benefits to occupants of the basement. Some of these features are above and beyond the minimum requirements of the current applicable code. And number 10, electrically wired smoke alarms installed within the basement and connected to at least one similar device located on the main level of the building would, if properly maintained, provide warning to persons in the basement in advance of a smoke-related emergency. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden and would be physically or legally impractical. And the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions for health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from provisions of 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. Condition 1, the edges of the slope ceiling projection under the stair shall be painted a contrasting color to the ceiling. Number 2, that the basement shall not be used for sleeping or cooking, and this shall be clearly stated on the certificate of occupancy issued by the local building department for this legalization. Number 3, that electrically wired smoke alarms shall be installed and maintained throughout the basement in accordance with Section R314 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State and connected to similarly maintained devices throughout the dwelling. Number 4, that a rate of rise heat detector shall be located within the boiler room and interconnected with the smoke alarm system. Number 5, that emergency escape and rescue opening shall be installed and maintained at the basement level. Number 6, that the basement boiler room shall be enclosed. This enclosure shall have a minimum 1 hour fire resistant rating and a minimum 45-minute opening protective to include interior wall dampers if needed for makeup air. Number 7, that the beam that is subject of the 5 foot 8 encroachment shall be incorporated into the proposed structural alterations and raised to a minimum of 6 feet above finished floor, and any beam portion extended below the ceiling should be painted a contrasting color to the ceiling. And number 8, that the basement shall satisfy all other applicable provisions of the Uniform Code, including but not limited to the code's requirements for carbon monoxide detection. I need a motion to approve with these conditions.
Andy, so moved.
May I get a second?
Erica, second.
Eric, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to the specific building and the application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. So Chris, you had those 8 conditions for approval? Did you understand those?
Yes, I do. And of course, you're going to send something in the mail. And this will be written out.
Yes. The regional
that's-
office gets it prepared. You can contact Courtney on the time frame.
That's fine. Typically, you would send a letter with those requirements. I didn't write them down at the moment, but I understand them.
There will be a formal decision with all of this information on it with the conditions.
That's
I
fine.
think we're running like, what, 4 to 6 weeks? Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Just as a thing on the side, in the building and the residential building code, it addresses distance separation, fire rating requirements, garage, dwelling, but there's no reference of boiler rooms in the residential code.
That's correct.
I
That's
guess,
something that we typically require for these headroom issues and a lot of the variances that we grant. That is a condition of the variance, and that does go beyond what's in the code.
no, that is fine. But I'm saying, and being in the business for many years, as just a standard practice, it's a good thing to do to fire rate boiler rooms and have a fire rated door. But it's just disappointing not seeing it in the code as it should be. That's
Not to get into a lengthy conversation, but I think what happened, these things have become more efficient. There's less ambient air temperature, so that it doesn't have as much heat as it used to. And I think they used to have the ceiling laminated with 5-inch rod, then they had sprinkler in there.
There is provision in the code to have sheetrock above the boilers.
A certain BTU output of the boiler, or,
I have not seen any reference in the residential code.
yeah, Mr. Coordination is a wealth of information.
It might,
Floor protection, look up underfloor protection.
Okay, I'll
yeah,
take a look
it
at that.
also might be in the fire code, not rather than the residential code.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it
Or the
discussed
mechanical.
garage. It discussed.
Maureen, this conversation could be off the record.
I'd like to go off the record?
Yeah, it's a dialogue back and forth.
Okay,
We're off the record.
Yeah.
Chris, Courtney's a wealth of information. If you have any questions and you need technical support about the code, give him a call or email.
certainly. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr.
It is a requirement somewhere.
Yeah, we're back on the record now.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
before we go back on the record, I just want to make sure the lady beside you, that's Erica?
Yes,
Okay. You're ready to go back on the record?
Yes.
We're on the record.
Thank you. So who's the petitioner here? Mr. Mahalik? Who's here today on?
Oh, sorry. Good morning,
sir.
board members. I'm just turning my camera on, seeing if there we go.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thanks for joining us and being patient.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, so
Okay.
you'll be the third case today. So we
Yep.
have some stuff to read into the record, and then I'll ask you to present your case, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Okay, the third and final hearing is in the matter of petition number 2022-0628. The petitioner is Maximilian R. Mahalik Esquire, and the aggrieved parties are Albert and Barry Obadiah. If I pronounced that properly.
Yep.
This petition pertains to a variance for a detached dwelling, wood frame construction, 2 stories in height, approximately 4,465 square feet in total gross area, located at 100 Boyd Street, City of Long Beach, County of Nassau, State of New York. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2010 Residential Code of New York State, Section 324.1.3.3, titled Freeboard, which states, "A freeboard of 2 feet shall be added where the design flood elevation or other elevation requirements are specified." The petitioner requests a freeboard of less than 2 feet. And 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2010 Residential Code of New York State, Section 324.2.2, titled Enclosed Area Below Design Flood Elevation, in particular, item 2.2, which states, "The total net area of all openings shall be at least 1 square inch for each square foot of enclosed area, where the opening shall be designed, and the construction document shall include a statement that the design and installation will provide for equalization of hydrostatic flood forces on exterior walls by allowing for an automatic entry and exit of floodwaters. Petitioner requests that net area of openings in an enclosed area be less than allowed. Okay.
Great.
All right, Mr. Mahala, tell us what this is about.
Good morning. So as just articulated, this is in regards to the property at 100 Boyd Street in Long Beach. I'm just quickly going to introduce my team. I want to be brief here to respect the board's time, but we have myself, we have Lucia Chiocchio, attorney. We are both attorneys at the law firm of Cuddy and Fader. Bill Schneider is our engineer from PSNS, and Leonard Jackson. He's also an engineer with the expertise in flooding mitigation of Leonard Jackson Associates. So I just wanted to articulate that. Now, moving on to the request here. So there was the submission filed September 2 and the supplemental correspondence with Mr. Nation since then, including the November 29 submission. And really just to kind of summarize the request here, the premises as shown at Exhibit E of our 9-2 submission is in the coastal AE zone and the zone of moderate wave action, but it is not in the coastal high hazard area. And then just getting to some of the history here to build up to our request, the building permit for the single family home was issued in 2014 and they're on constructed. And during that process, the applicant, who I should also note is here, Mr. Obadiah, Barry Obadiah, along with his father, Albert. They relied on the opinions and guidance of their architect, the surveyor, contractor, various design consultants.
One moment.
Can Leonard mute his? Yeah, he's showing some feedback on ours, and then it's hard to hear you.
Until you're ready to speak.
Thank you.
Great. So as I was saying, our applicant relied on the guidance from their design consultants, and everything was going smoothly, and all of the permits they required were issued by the city, and they relied on the issuance of those permits to construct the home. They were never made aware during the construction process of any issue on the premises or when it came to the construction. However, when they went to apply for their certificate of occupancy, it was denied by the city's zoning inspector. Now, that denial is Exhibit M of the 9-2 submission, and it basically states that the finished first floor is an elevation of 8.4 feet, when under the building code it should be at 10 feet, because that would be the 8-foot base flood elevation plus 2 feet of freeboard. I will also just note for the record that just some more of the context of the knowledge that the applicant had during this process, you'll see at Exhibit L, their project architect at the time, Ray Donor, submitted a letter saying that everything was built to the plans and to the code, and our applicant relied on that. Now, going back to, we received the denial in November of 2020, and what we think led to that denial was that the certificate of elevation submitted when construction was completed, and that's Exhibit J of the 9-2 submission, it listed the top of next higher floor elevation at 8.4 feet. The city saw that, said your livable floor is at 8.4 feet, and that's not permitted. So moving on to the variance requests, as already articulated in the reading of the notice, but just to summarize really quickly here, we're looking at two different variances based on our understanding of the requirements of the 2010 building code. And one we might be able to work, and as I'll explain, to not necessarily need it today. But I'll start with the one that we know we need. Now, that is going to be the freeboard requirement. Again, there's an 8-foot base flood elevation plus 2 feet of freeboard. Based on the updated elevation certificate submitted at Exhibit O of our September 2 submission, we have a crawl space at 3.9 feet elevation. We have the lowest horizontal member at an elevation of 7.4 feet, and we have the lowest livable floor at 8.4 feet. And we understand specifically that that lowest livable floor should be at 10 feet based under the 2010 code. So we're asking for that margin there from 8.4 to 10 as the variance request. Separately, and my understanding with the reference to the variance under section 324.2.2 of the code, that comes to what I'm referring to just as the vents under the home. Based on our reading of the code, we understand that there should be 9 smart vents under the main building, the main home, and 3 under the garage. Based on the updated elevation certificate, there are currently 6 smart vents under the main home and then 6 regular vents, and there are no vents under the garage. So that is the second part of the request, is a request for the variances when it comes to the vents. However, we've spoken with our team since we've made our submission, and if it makes things easier, we are happy to install the required vents just to continue to move this along. So we are comfortable with doing that. So when it comes to the justification for the two variances, we looked at the criteria listed under the state information. And there's the note about the excessive and economic burden. And then there's the criteria to continue safety. Now, when it comes to particularly the freeboard requirement, there's a significant concern for the applicant about cost. So just a little context here, they purchased the property $500,000, built it for approximately 1.5 million. And when they were notified by the city after construction had been completed that there was an issue with the elevation, they went to a contractor to get an estimate on how much it would cost to raise the home. That's about $279,000 to do that. And that we've been advised might even be higher because there would have to be adjustments to the patio surrounding the home, which would increase that cost. We just note that the cost would be excessive and the work would be excessive as it includes removing materials, adding existing foundations, and replacing a number of design elements. Also, without a variance in the freeboard requirement, there are issues getting flood insurance protection, which is a significant economic risk for the applicant. I would note that Mr. Obadiah the Elder, Albert Obadiah, he is in his 90s, and at this time, that type of financial burden is particularly significant. And then there's also the note that if the home has to be raised, that would require a new zoning compliance, and their concern, and we have to look at how the city of Long Beach would measure zoning. And I know that's for the zoning inspector, but there is a concern about the cost associated with that. But we do understand this is a waterfront property, and there are concerns about ensuring safety for both the property, its residents, and the local residents of the neighborhood. So we articulated some of the features of the home as built, designed in our submission, but I'm just quickly going to articulate them here. But these are what we understand to be mitigating factors to help ensure the safety of the design as is. First, just want to note that the building does comply, from our understanding, with the FEMA requirement of the base flood elevation of 8 feet. And the issue here is the additional New York requirement of that 2 feet of freeboard. But just to note, the building is landward of the reach of the mean high tide line. There is no basement below grade. There are helical piles extending 14 feet below ground, far exceeding what we understand minimum requirements for flood damage prevention. The structure utilizes a floor joist system with treated lumber, which we understand manages better in storm events. All the utilities are above the minimum 10-foot elevation requirement. There are storm-resistant doors and windows throughout the property. Then there are the flood vents that are there, putting aside the issue of the number of them, but these flood vents do add a factor of safety. The crawl space is not used for any parking, building access, or storage. There's no door in the base flood elevation area, and I understand there's no underground tank or above ground tank. And those are just some of the elements that have been incorporated into the design and the construction to avoid any negative impacts from flooding and to minimize potential threats of damage and to ensure safety, again, for the premises and the surrounding neighborhood. So having gone through all that, I believe Mr. Jackson might have just had a few thoughts to share as well. And following that, we're happy to answer any questions the board might have and continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Okay.
Or I think Mr. Jackson's just unmuting himself. Yeah. There you go.
Just a few things. Through no fault of the applicant, he does require a variance. It turns out that the building does in fact comply with FEMA minimum requirements. And this house is, let's say, safer than many of the hundreds and thousands of houses in the AE zone, because the house does comply with AE zone requirements. Unfortunately, through whatever happened, the house was built lower than it should have been, even though it's built high enough to exceed FEMA's minimum elevation requirements. The building is relatively safe. It could have been safer if it had added the freeboard that New York State requires. But the house is safe. It does have a helical pile system, concrete foundation walls. It does have vents in the foundation walls, which could be increased. And all in all, I would suggest that this house is relatively safe during a flood. I think the variance, if granted, it certainly will not affect anyone else. This is a variance that has no impact on any others. And what they need now is to be able to occupy their home. They need a CO, and the CO is being withheld because he lacks a variance for this structurally sound building. And that's where we are now.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions on the board?
Yeah, let me start. Let me ask first, wondering how we got here. The plans show the first floor elevation at elevation 10, and the first floor was built at elevation 8.4. How did the contractor not get the proper elevation?
So the team that's presenting here today on behalf of the applicant, once these issues came to light, some folks, in particular, the architect previously involved, started to minimize communications, we'll say, when it came to light that there were issues with the elevation. So we brought in the experts we know in the field of building code and flooding to really try to get an idea of what the requirements are and what the variance need would be and mitigation. But in terms of the history of the premises and the construction, we ourselves have found that it is a little unclear at what point did things go askew during the construction, just because there was no issue ever brought up to the applicant and all the permits were issued that were required for construction, and no one ever flagged anything until the CO application was filed. So it could have been anything from an issue with the survey being completed to just how the construction itself was undertaken. But we are excited to have a team of talented folks who want to be able to work with the state to move this forward, facing the situation that we do.
Okay. Can you, on the FEMA flood map that's in the exhibits, explain the horizontal lines that are through the map so we can get a better understanding of where we are?
Yes.
Which exhibit is that?
Exhibit E.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exhibit E.
I'm going down there right now. Second, this takes a second to load. Here it is. Would you like me to share the screen?
By all means.
If I can figure, let's see, after 2 years of virtual meetings, if I should know by now how to do this pretty quickly. There
It's
we go.
WebEx, it's not Zoom. Yeah.
Haha. I think, do you see the flood map?
Yeah.
Yep, it came up on your end?
It's very small. You have to, there you go.
All right, let me try to zoom in here. So there's our,
Let me just interrupt and indicate that my eyesight is a little poor, so I need a good explanation of where you are on the map.
understood.
Now you've got it blown up pretty good.
All right. So this premises, zoom in there. It's a little blurry just from the original quality of the file from FEMA. But this lot is at the end of Boyd Street, right along the water. It's I would call it, I would call it a corner water lot. And there is a clear GIS photo at Exhibit B, just for reference, just so you can really see the lot.
Yes, I saw that.
Yep, and it comprises 2 tax lots. So as you'll see, we have this designation here of being in the coastal AE zone. And then as we corresponded both internally with our team and then with the state, we were advised that this this line here, I guess called a solid line with the hash with the triangles, that is the zone of limited wave action. And so those are kind of the 2 areas we fall under, and those 2 areas then were assessed for the requirements under the 2010 building code. There was a question from Mr. Nation at one point if we were in what was called a coastal high hazard area or not. And that determination was made by the city building department who enforces FEMA regulations on the ground. And they said that we were not in that high hazard area, which could have been a third potential designation with its own requirements. But we are in this zone AE with an 8-foot base flood elevation, and then this zone of limited wave action. And then the requirements for both of those categories were analyzed to determine what variances were required.
Now, that line that is going right at the property, right across the screen,
The white,
the white
White
line, what is that line?
So just from looking, and I'm just zooming out just to compare it to some of the other white lines. What that appears to be is a indication of where the base flood elevation changes. So 8 feet here, and then it rises up to 10 feet, but it looks like this line, this white line runs right along the waterfront.
I might point out that after Sandy, I don't know do you know how the homes adjacent to this property, since this building wasn't built back then, how they fared during Sandy?
I don't necessarily want to opine on something I personally am not familiar with, but Mr. Obadiah, I don't know if you're able to unmute. See if I can stop sharing for a moment.
And I raised that question because after Sandy, I inspected a restaurant across Reynolds Channel from this area, and it was basically very much destroyed.
So as specifically to Sandy, I cannot speak to Sandy itself, but I do know in our conversations with the applicant team that they haven't seen any issues on the premises since they've started construction. And I know we've had a number of weather events, and construction has started in 2014 with the foundation work. Barry, I don't know if you have any other insights into specifically Sandy or any other storm events in the neighborhood since you've been familiar with the property, which I know you acquired in 2013, which I believe is just after Sandy.
Correct. Yeah. So the after Sandy, this particular home was a one-family home, and the first floor was pretty the lower part was the foundation was a little destroyed there, but since but the neighbor's house where everything seemed intact. There's a fairly new house across the street to the left. They looks like they had sustained zero damage there, minimal. But as Max was saying, since 2014, when this construction started, we had a lot, pretty substantial floods in Long Beach, and we haven't had any issues at all with flooding or damage to the property, since then. So, I certainly appreciate, anyone's understanding in this matter.
And just to add that, I think part of the reason maybe there's been the minimal impact in the area since then is with the property facing north, away from the Atlantic Ocean and into the intercoastal area, that does have some kind of minimal.
Yeah, the properties on
impacts.
Yeah, the property is on the bay and a canal, so the wave action is pretty light over there in normal times. But again, we haven't seen much flooding at all in the vicinity of the home. Thank God. So
We haven't had another Sandy yet.
no, that's
But
true.
the property that I inspected after Sandy was also on Reynolds Channel, which on the base on the ocean. So it's more, in my mind, a question of when, not if.
Right.
So, and that leads me to other concerns that I have. When I look at the cross-section of the house, it's looking in the crawl space, you have a slab underneath at the floor of the crawl space. when that gets flooded, how does the water escape?
Yeah,
So,
there,
okay.
oh, go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry, Max.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I could share the screen and Barry,
sure,
if you have
sure.
thoughts on that, feel free, but, and Bill, I don't know if you have any other thoughts or Leonard on the functionality of the crawl space. I do know that there are the vents under the main home, but Barry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, no. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
If I may, it would be a good idea, just in the event the crawl space ever does get wet, there should be an opening in the crawl space to let the water seep back. I'm sure it's sand. The water should seep back into the ground. If you want to be super conservative, you throw a sump pump in there, it would hurry up the process.
I would definitely agree, so that there should be drains or openings in that concrete floor to allow water to drain out. I assume there are none now?
No, no, there is a sump pump system installed. This was installed a couple of years ago, a sump pump system, along with the smart vents to minimize any water damage or flooding in the crawl space. So it's actually worked very well so far.
Oh, so there is a sump pump in there?
Yes.
Okay, and it looks like, and it's not labeled, it's showing insulation between the floor joists. What type of insulation is that? And how is that held in place?
So I'm just looking at the plans themselves. One sec. I believe the joist system utilizes treated lumber. I don't know if anyone on the team could speak to necessarily the type of insulation in there. It's dangerous sometimes when lawyers start talking about insulation types.
Well, you do have an engineer part of this team here?
Yes, but unfortunately, we weren't there during the construction and we have not inspected the underneath the building, so I can't tell you what was actually installed there.
I know there is, I apologize. I know there is a significant amount of insulation in the crawl space as well. I know that, but I just don't know what type. I'm not a builder or anything. So.
If that's fiberglass, Pat, that's gonna be destroyed.
That's what the drawings state, R19.
R19, yeah, that's gonna be destroyed.
So,
But
I can pull up what I'm going to do now, just so we're all on the same page. Exhibit F is the drawings. Second. Okay, and let's share the screen. Because I just want to make sure we're all looking at the same page.
looking at 4 of 5.
Yes, I'm just going to scroll down. The next one. All right. So, yep, here, there's the details on the helical piles. Oh, did I go up one more?
There's a typical wall section on the left. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So, in terms of all the different details for the joist and post connection, construction, all the construction, the foundation, that was all provided. And so we do see that R19 label. I know just from viewing some of the other earlier hearings, there were conditions related with approvals to variances. I don't know if there might be an opportunity, and we can talk with our technical team moving forward to see if there might be some type of replacement that can be done to minimize the impact on the fiberglass. But also, I think with all the other safety features that we've articulated thus far, I think, and the fact that we haven't seen a flooding issue on the property in a number of years, that helps to minimize any potential risks to safety we're seeing with this variance request. But I just do also want to note, though, that we are, flexible and open to conditions if they're reasonably achievable.
I think it would make sense to replace that insulation with spray foam insulation. Because everything below the DFE is supposed to be, should be flood resistant. Which also raises another question about the materials of construction on the walls in the garage. And I assume that's gypboard in there and
Yeah, it's basic drywall.
basic drywall.
Well, they said they were amenable to some conditions, so we could talk this out.
Okay.
I only have one question, or maybe two.
Yep.
You had mentioned before, Mr. Mahalik, in your presentation, with regards to utilities being installed above the flood elevation. Which one was that? Was that the 8-foot or the 10-foot elevation?
I
Utilities.
understand based on the documentation provided to me that the utilities were above the 10-foot mark.
Okay.
Do we have that in any of the drawings or?
You won't see that here.
All right, not, but none of the plans?
You could put that on the record.
Okay.
Courtney, I have a question for you. Contrary to my experience, who designates the coastal hazard area? I thought that was the DEC. It's still local?
Now the DEC, it's in the code, so areas, seaward of the Limwa are required to conform to the high hazard, to the high velocity wave zone.
Excuse me, sorry, this is a reporter. Who's speaking right now?
Mr. Nation, Courtney Nation.
Thank you.
There was a change in the code, and this particular project was designed under a previous code when it was optional for the local municipality.
I understand. And that wasn't done by the local?
Right, the locals have said that they did not designate that area.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else have any other questions? We have the construction costs in the exhibit. I think it's in here.
Yeah.
Was 279, if I recall
Yes.
correctly?
That is that exhibit, I believe it is second to last, exhibit S of the September 2 submission.
Okay, and you had said that it could potentially be higher because of the appurtenances outside the building would need to also be raised?
Yeah, so after the estimate was submitted, Mr. Obadiah spoke with the individual who did the estimate, and he mentioned that that number can also be raised because of the in light of the need to increase certain, like the patio surrounding the structure. The contractor who did the estimate didn't feel that that cost related with raising the patio and some of those other appurtenances was necessarily reflected in the estimate that was provided in September 2 submission. So we just wanted to note that for the record. But regardless, we do think that this estimate as shown at Exhibit S would be just a significant cost burden after having spent a significant amount of money already on improvements to the site and just the number of years, and also in light of Mr. Albert Obadiah's more mature age. And the burden just continues to add on, and we're hoping to see the certificate of occupancy issued in due time for a home that was originally under works in 2014.
Okay, thank you for that. So in summary, it's a freeboard request. You're at 8.4, it's a 1.6 shortfall, and you're willing to comply with the smart vents, adding additional venting for variance number 2.
Correct.
Is that right?
And yep, and also just to note, because you guys obviously have much more experience in this than some of us, but in these specific requests. But that lowest horizontal member was noted by the surveyor at 7.4 feet in the elevation certificate, but we've been told that the issue really in the code is that the lowest livable level is what is measured, and that's at 8.4 feet. So we just want to ensure that the variance, if one is granted, reflects what is needed to go back to the city to say, this is what we needed. This is written down. But I just wanted to note that there is that lowest horizontal member structure at 7.4 7.4. But the lowest livable floor is what we understand the point of concern here, and that's at 8.4.
And that's on the new elevation certificate, correct?
Correct, and that is
Yeah.
Exhibit O.
Okay. Last order of business is local code official. Is there any word weighing in on that? Opposed or? Do we have that in the submission? No.
Mr. And I hope I don't pronounce his last name incorrectly. Mr. Shu, the zoning inspector who issued the denial, there's been a chain of correspondence with him over the course of the last year where he advised us to go with and to paraphrase what he said, go to the state and work with the state and let me know how it goes, basically. But I do note that he was on the invitation for this meeting. So that's the extent of the information I have on him.
So we have a CEO questionnaire that usually gets filled out by the certified code official. And it's not a zoning officer, it's a building code official. I don't know if that's the appropriate person to be weighing in, but we just usually try to identify if the local is opposed or in favor of the granting of a variance. Okay, we'll check.
Yeah, and you'll see there were email correspondences submitted in various exhibits where you'll see that he directed us to work with the state. And I didn't see any objection articulated against the variance in those emails.
Okay.
Yep.
So if none of the board members have any other questions, we're gonna go talk this out. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
We're out.
Can you hear us okay?
Yep.
All right, prepare to take notes. Back on the record. With respect to the petition of Albert Obadiah and Barry Obadiah, petition number 0628. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2010 Residential Code of New York State, Section 324.1.3.3, titled Freeboard, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2010 Residential Code of New York State, Section 324.2.2, titled Enclosed Area Below Design Flood Elevation, in particular, item 2.2. The board makes the following findings. Number one, construction of the subject dwelling began in November 2014 and was completed late 2018. Number two, a post-construction elevation certificate revealed that the lowest floor, i.e. lowest floor for habitable occupancy, was below New York's required design flood elevation of 10 NAVD 88. Number three, despite changes in the Uniform Code and revisions to the design that occurred during the construction, the board considers that the 2010 RCNYS is applicable to this construction. Number four, the dwelling is located in flood hazard zone designated as an AE8 zone, having a base flood elevation of 8 feet above NAVD 88 and a design flood elevation of 10 feet above NAVD 88. Number five, elevation certificates dated 10/6/2020 and 4/29/2022 show the as-built floor elevation as 8.4 feet NAVD. This is approximately 1.6 feet lower than the required design flood elevation. Number six, the top of the lowest livable floor as constructed and is therefore above the FEMA BFE, but is less than the New York DFE requirement of 10 feet NAVD. Number seven, a comparison of the as-built structure to today's code was provided by the petitioner at Exhibit T. This analysis revealed that if constructed today, the lowest livable floor would need to be raised a further 2.6 feet above its current low elevation. This is so because of the building's location seaward of the LIMWA, designated as coastal A zone, and the current residential code of New York State requires such dwellings be elevated so that their lowest structural member is at 10 feet NAVD. Great. Although the dwelling occurs seaward of the LIMWA, line of moderate wave action, depicted in the petitioner's Exhibit E, the board does not consider section R324.3.4 of the 2010 Residential Code of New York State to be applicable to this construction. Petitioner has established that the local municipality did not designate the location as a coastal high hazard area. The building would therefore be exempt from the requirements of sections R324.3.1, through R 324.3.6 in the 2010 Residential Code of New York State. Number 9, the petitioner considers it impractical and expensive to raise the building to conform to either the 2010 Residential Code of New York State or the current code requirements as provided estimates in excess of $279,000 to support this claim. Number 10, the petitioner has stated that the number of flood vents do not conform to the requirements of item 2.2 of the 2010 code. The petitioner in testimony indicated that they are willing to comply with this code requirement. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section 324.1.3.3, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section 324.2.2, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden and would be physically or legally impractical.
Could I
Yes, you may.
make a correction there because we need to take out that second, we don't need the variance for the second.
Do we? Because we just put it in as a condition. The compliance.
We put in a finding that that the petitioner is complying with that, therefore we don't need a variance.
One of the potential conditions that were decided on was that
For the other,
existing openings
right,
would suffice. In other words,
no.
It would be made to conform.
you have to take out the finding condition.
So condition,
Hold on, Maureen, we're going to go off the record for a moment.
Record.
yeah,
We're on the record.
So I read the findings, went through number 10. With respect to, I take that out as well, or we keep that in?
no, with respect to the first one,
Only the first one or still the 2.2?
don't need that,
Okay, so I'm only reading the one section of the code
right,
because the findings, okay.
right.
Excuse me. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section 324.1.3.3, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden and would be physically or legally impractical. And the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code provisions for health, safety, and security. So wherefore it is determined that the application for a variance from the provisions of 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section 324.1.3.3 be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the top of floor elevation of the lowest habitable floor of the subject dwelling shall be maintained at 8.4 feet above the datum known as NAVD 88. Number 2, that the dwelling shall comply with the code requirements for flood vents. Number 3, that the insulation between the floor joist of the first floor shall be of flood-resistant material. Number 4, all electrical and mechanical utilities shall be maintained at or above elevation 10 NAVD. And number 5, that all other applicable requirements of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code shall be satisfied. I need a motion to approve this with these conditions.
So moved.
Can I get a second, please?
Mark, a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. So we have those 5 conditions. We have any questions?
Nope, very clear cut. I want to thank the board members, Mr. Nation, and I appreciate you guys putting us on an agenda so shortly after our November submission. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate
Good
it.
luck getting your CO
Take
and
care.
great presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.